Hola, buenas tardes. Estamos en esta segunda cápsula. Tenemos a un invitado que viene desde Estados Unidos, así que primero les queremos dar esta bienvenida y les vamos a recordar que esta transmisión va a ser en inglés, ahorita que estamos con nuestro invitado, pero queremos recordarles que vamos a tener entrevistas todo el día y en este caso tenemos de invitado a Mark Russell. Vamos a leerles un poco acerca de su semblanza y ahorita ya lo presentamos para esta entrevista. Entonces les platicamos que él es autor y guionista de cómics y vive en Portland, Oregon, Estados Unidos. Es conocido por el libro God is Disappointed in You, así como para las series de cómics de Flintstones, Not All Robots y Second Coming. Actualmente escribe Superman, Space Age y es dibujado por Mike Alfred e Incalb Psychoverse, dibujado por Yannick Paquet. Ya les estoy hablando en dos idiomas, a empezar un poco ya esta entrevista. Saludas a nuestro invitado para que él se
Sure,
presente.
Mark. Thank you so much for staying here with us. How are you? How are you being like in the Ficomics? How are you having a time? What are the favorite parts of Ficomics?
I'm just having a great time because this is the kind of con I love to come to, where everyone's excited, and it's on a college campus, so you get a lot of like kids and people who are like aspiring artists and writers themselves. I love talking to them. So to me, this is what Comic Con should be about.
Okay, perfect. So you're coming from United States, and there are a lot of types of writing and different types of people that write novels, literature. But why do you choose to get into the comic world?
Well, I whether I'm choosing to write a certain character or whether or not I've been asked to write it without my choice, I always try to write about what it is I have to say. I try to think about what it is I love about that character or what it is I want to say about the world around me, and then I work it into that character, into that universe. So even if I'm writing a character I'd never asked to write in a million years, I'm always writing what I want to write because I'm saying what I want to say.
Good. So we know that you right now are drawing for Superman Space Age, but also you draw for the Flintstones, right?
Well, I wrote the Flintstones comic, and I'm writing the Superman Space Age. The art is being done by a legend, Mike Allred, who's like one of my favorite artists of all time, and I'm just amazed that we were able to get him. But yeah, it's weird where comics takes you. You end up writing characters and things you never thought you would in a million years.
Exactly. I was wondering actually what it's like to write about two different contexts in time, like between of those stories. What is like to write about them?
Well, I think about what's important about the thing I'm being asked to write about. So for the Flintstones, to me, the thing that really sort of resonated with me was the fact that Bedrock was the world's first civilization. So I wanted to write sort of my critique of civilization in the Flintstones. In Superman, the big thing that's interesting to me about Superman is that he has all the power in the world, and yet he's still a good person, and that seems almost impossible. So I wanted to write, what is it that makes him a good person, despite the fact that he has all the temptation of power. And to me, it really came down to it's the people who loved him. It's the people who, who he is the product of everyone who loved him, and that's the secret of Superman. What makes him Superman.
Okay. And how do you get into like this character or this profile where you start writing? 'Cause, like the whole process of writing these comics, how do you prepare for that?
Well, I start just by writing down random ideas. I don't know if I'll end up using them in the book or not, but I just write random ideas I have. And after a while, your subconscious just sort of takes over, and you realize that maybe some of those ideas work together, or there's a theme to the ideas you're coming up with. And then you can mold those into a story. But I always start more broadly with what are the themes, what are the things I like about this character, what are the ideas, what are the things I want to say about this character in the world, and then the story sort of comes out of that.
Good. And okay, so we already talked about that. The thing that you like about these kind of cons is the people that attend here, and they're also students and stuff. But what is the mostly delightful thing that this type of cons have for you?
Well, when you're a writer, you work a lot alone. You just sit at your desk and you're writing. You have no idea whether or not anybody's ever actually going to read these things. It's not like being a singer where the audience reacts right when you're singing, or an actor where people on react to you on stage. As a writer, you get none of that. So when I come to a con, it's like I finally get that audience reaction. That it might be a year later, but finally people are reacting to what you write. And to me, that makes it all worthwhile. It makes me feel like oh, people are reading this. I'm not just shouting into a canyon, and it's the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah, and for you personally, as experience and for growing in this perspective and in this type of topics of the comic and all this context, what has been the experience of this global perspective? Because we have artists or comic writers or storytellers that come from Colombia, from Chile, or maybe or North America. I don't know if there are people that come from Europe, but what it's like for you to have this type of community that is also interested in comics.
Yeah, it's great, and I think that it's valuable to maintain these different sort of voices within the comics community, to not let it all just be dominated by Marvel and DC, but to maintain sort of unique voices in different countries and continents, and just within, you know, like the subject matter, just not all being about superheroes, but writing about life and things that other things, because I think comics is a universal medium that can be used to communicate pretty much anything you want, and it's a great visual medium. It allows you to use both words and visuals to like communicate. So it's a real versatile medium, and I just hope that people do use it to tell stories that maybe they haven't seen in comics so far, because those are the stories comics need.
Good. So I'm actually really curious about this. I'll have to ask, um, what is the thing that keeps you inspired on writing these different type of stories? That I mean, the topics among the topics that you write about. What is this thing that keeps you inspired?
Well, besides the mortgage, which I have to pay every month, uh, the main thing is I just feel like I have no shortage of opinions. That no matter what's going on in the world, I feel like I have an opinion about it, and I feel like comics gives me an avenue to talk about it in a way that's not very preachy or in which I'm tolerable. So it allows me to like sort of present my ideas through characters in a way that's sort of funny and weird and more interesting than if it was just me speaking directly to people.
That's amazing. Yeah, we have had a lot of authors or storytellers, digital artists that are talking about this passion, but now they have started since long age, and now they are grown up and everything, and they have family, they have friends, so it's good that they have all this community, all this family together, and that they share this passion and help you through that way. But just to finish this interview that has been amazing, can you talk about of the plans of the future for you? What are you planning, or just go with the flow?
Yeah, a lot of it when you're in comics is going with the flow, because that's where the work is. But for me, my plans are to do more creator owned stuff, more of the stories that are really personal to me. I'm writing a story right now about the first man mission to Mars, and it's about a terminally ill man who volunteers to go to Mars, and the whole story is told on the way to Mars through his sort of diary and all his regrets of life on Earth, and now it's too late for him to change anything because he's on his way to Mars. And to me, that's like a really sort of meaningful personal story, and it's one that I would the sort of thing I look forward to writing more of in the future.
Good. So we know that you are giving a conference tomorrow right here in the comic. So why don't you invite everyone that watches and listen to us here in Bibliohertz to attend to this conference that you're giving?
Okay, well, if you weren't bored by listening to me speak, then you probably will want to come to my PowerPoint tomorrow, and I'll talk some more.
All right, good. And so, Mark, thank you so much for your time. We are so happy that you agreed to be with us here because, for all that don't know, we were thinking about having him yesterday, but we couldn't because of the times and whatever. But it's really amazing that you could do this for us. So, thank you for your time.
Glad we can make it work.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much for your time. Y muchísimas gracias a todos ustedes que nos están viendo en esta cápsula especial. Estamos muy contentas de que por fin pudimos tener a Mark porque, bueno, les traduzco tantito. No pudimos tenerlo el día de ayer, pero hoy sí se nos hizo posible, lo pudimos hacer funcionar. Entonces, muchísimas gracias. Sam, ¿algo que decir para cerrar?
No, gracias a todos. Thanks, Mark, a lot. Y pues vean esta conferencia y por ahí si tienen duda, busquen los subtítulos que ya les pone Facebook para que la puedan escuchar. Gracias.
Perfecto, muchas gracias. Hasta luego. Bye.